Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, I have a hilarious Reddit story for you here today. So this is of a relatively young woman, I believe, who decided to ask her boyfriend for a break. You know, the classic, oh, I need to find myself. I need to do some healing. I need to work on my goals. Basically just translates to, I want to hook up with other men. Well, she decided to pull that card on her boyfriend, but instead of saying, okay, let's go on a break, fine, we'll get back together afterwards, he said, no, you know what? I'm moving on. We're done. This is over. And of course, what does the woman do? She starts stalking the man. She becomes obsessive. And this is the funny thing, guys, is like women oftentimes don't really expect men to just fully walk away. And it is absolutely fantastic when they do. And it's funny to me how the women only become obsessive, right? Only really invest heavily in the man once he's dipped, right? Once he's left the situation. So let's jump into this story here. After a painful breakup, 34-year-old David relocated to a new city to escape the memories of his ex-girlfriend Sarah. She had initially asked for a quote-unquote break, only for him to later discover she was entertaining the attention of a new man at work. So here's the thing, guys. Anytime a woman suggests to you that you two go on a break, it means that there is already another man, right? I hate to shatter the illusion, okay? This is the lie that modern women like to tell, you know, that they're just working on themselves or some nonsense, they're doing some healing or figuring themselves out. It essentially means she has been cheating with another dude, and now she doesn't want to feel bad about it. So now she wants to have a break from the relationship so she can pretend, in her mind at least, that, oh, it's okay because we weren't actually together. I was hooking up with this other guy, but it's all right. You know, what's a week or two difference, okay? I broke up with him, but I was only sleeping with the other guy for 2 weeks into our relationship. It's totally fine. When women ask for a break, there is pretty much always another dude there. And dudes will hear this, guys, and they'll get super optimistic. They'll be like, oh, pretty much? You mean there's a chance there wasn't a dude there? It's like, wake up, man. Okay, wake up. So, determined to move on, David started fresh in another city, only to find Sarah following in his footsteps, restraining order immediately. Now she is desperately trying to rekindle their past, while her parents issue apologies on her behalf. But David has made up his mind. He is not going back. You know, by the way, right? It's bad as well when the parents start issuing apologies on her behalf, right? Because the parents probably know, hey, this is a great guy, right? Why did you throw him away? You need to get him back yesterday. You need to get this man back because he is the best you are going to get. So it's funny that the parents are trying to get the man back with her as well, because they probably realize this. They probably realize that she threw out a good man. She threw out a provider, right? She threw out a dude who was going to be there for her, give her the white picket fence, and she screwed it up. So the parents are even trying to get the dude back. So David and Sarah met at work in 2022, quickly forming a strong bond that led to a romantic relationship. Their connection seemed promising, yet Sarah had a history of impulsive decisions. Yeah, because that's one characteristic that you really want in a girlfriend, isn't it, guys, or a wife? You know, you really want an impulsive woman. That sounds great. Breaking up with David once over a minor disagreement early on, she had a dramatic scene at their workplace, leaving David humiliated and heartbroken. Yeah, so she's already been cheating earlier as well. Guys, I have to roast the dude a little bit here for putting up with this, by the way. If you guys break up, there is no restarting the relationship. It amazes me when I hear people and they're like, yeah, we've broken up and gotten back together 3 to 4 times. That is a terrible idea, man. That is absolutely it. Dudes who do that, in my opinion, have very little self-respect. Very, very little self-respect. If you guys break up, it should not be resumed at any point in time whatsoever. That is just ridiculous. So they already had a breakup over something minor, aka she was looking for a reason to break up with him. So she was probably already seeing another dude back here too. Though he tried to stay at the job, seeing her every day was too painful, so he left the job to pursue new opportunities. Over time, they reconnected and eventually rekindled their relationship in 2023. That was stupid. David hesitated at first, remembering the pain she had caused him, but Sarah appeared genuinely remorseful and he chose to give her a second chance. Terrible idea. As the months passed, the couple's relationship strengthened. They spoke about marriage, and David, eager to take the next step, started saving up for a house. He worked extra hours to surprise Sarah with a proposal and a home that they could call their own. However, Sarah perceived his increased workload as neglect, even though David had every intention of building a future for them. So let's break this down. This is exactly as I expected, by the way. This right here is why the parents were apologizing on the woman's behalf. You see, look at this. He was eager to take the next step. He started saving up for a house. He worked extra hours to surprise Sarah with a proposal and a home. So the parents knew, hey, this guy is marriage material. Hey, he's going to try and give you the white picket fence and the happily ever after. You need to apologize to this man and get him back in your life ASAP. That's what this really was, right? They saw that this guy was a provider who was going to be loyal, and so they were trying to get the man back in her life. And it's funny because this woman, right, she was probably, I don't know, what age was this guy again? Let's go back up here. He's 34. So maybe at the beginning of this, not quite sure, but she was probably late 20s, I assume, very late 20s. It's funny that usually women who hit this age bracket actually become very concerned with a man buying them a house and things like this. So it's funny to see that she seems to be a bit blind to this. But nevertheless, out of the blue, she asks for a break, quote unquote. David was obviously confused. He pressed for answers. She avoided giving him a clear explanation. However, his suspicions grew when he realized she had recently been talking about a new co-worker with increasing frequency, only to suddenly stop mentioning him altogether. The situation felt off. Yeah, this guy's a genius. Absolute genius. The situation should have felt off a very long time ago. But like, dudes will be like, it's funny to me, guys, right? Like, she will ask for a break, and then this guy is like thinking about her past behaviors. It's like, my man, she asked you for a break. That tells you everything that you need to know. The relationship is over. Wrap it up. Okay? Like, women don't even... It's funny because you don't even need to do any snooping at this point, right? If your woman asks you for a break, if she asks you for a temporary suspension of the relationship or to go and figure herself out or whatever she wants to call it, there is another dude there already. Okay, I don't know why guys are like, you know, they have to develop their suspicions, okay? This was all you needed, my friend. You don't need to stick around and look for things. It's over, man. Unable to shake his concerns, David confided in his close friend Emily, who still worked with Sarah. I don't know why this dude has close female friends. That's also ridiculous. Who still worked with Sarah. A few days later, Emily returned with news. Sarah's colleague had been encouraging her to explore other options, particularly with this new co-worker who they believed was a better match. They convinced her that David was too distant and uninvolved, painting an entirely different picture of his devotion. So the classic, you know, woman has friends who are very bad influences and convince her to sabotage the relationship. Now, I would like to be able to chalk up all of the responsibility, right? Like, guys, women oftentimes have these friends who will lie to them and try and convince them to sabotage their relationships and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, the women are the ones who decide to buy into it. Okay, so you could sit here and you can blame the friends for being terrible influences, but I still blame the woman, absolutely, right? She wanted to do this. She wanted to end up in another dude's bedroom, and that's why she did this, right? They like to downplay the accountability by talking about the friends. Like, yes, the friends obviously impact them and influence them, but at the end of the day, they wanted to do this and they made the decision. When Sarah finally met up with David again, she tried to justify her decision. She admitted feeling disconnected due to his long work hours, but insisted that nothing inappropriate had happened. This is a lie. With the new guy. However, her body language and defensive tone told David everything that he needed to know. I told her that I wasn't an idiot. If she had just talked to me, she would have known why I was working so much, but now none of that mattered. David refused to continue the relationship. Sarah wanted a break, so he made it permanent. Love to see it. Get the woman out, make the break permanent. If the woman wants a break she shall have, in my opinion. So the breakup was awful for the guy, but rather than wallow in pain, he took action. He requested a transfer within his company and moved to a different city. using the money he had saved for the proposal to start fresh. Good man. He was determined to move forward. However, Sarah wasn't ready to let him go. Months later, while visiting his hometown for the holidays, David learned that Sarah's relationship with a co-worker had ended after just a couple of months. Oh, wow. What a surprise. This is the way it always is, by the way, guys, is like women will go out there, they'll try and hook up with the bad boy or the attractive guy at work or whatever. And it never works out because, like, these guys, they generally have no reason to commit to the women whatsoever. You know, like the women who, the types of men who these women want, they have options with women, usually a lot of options. And they don't actually have a reason to keep relationships together with women who cheat for them, by the way. So every time I hear this, this is just like, oh, of course, this is not surprising in the slightest. I would be significantly more surprised if their relationship had actually worked out for a year. I would be way more surprised. Usually they just end pretty much immediately, which is what this one did. So, but he was already past caring, that is, until his friends dropped a bombshell. Sarah was moving to his city for a new job. Great, so she's coming to his city now. One day, while David was out for a jog, he heard a familiar voice behind him. It was Sarah. She tried to initiate a conversation, but he shut it down immediately. I told her I didn't want to talk. She said we needed to, but I didn't see the point. Sarah continued to push, even questioning how he could still resent her after so much time had passed. That's when David laid it out for her plainly. It wasn't resentment, it was self-preservation. I mean, to be honest, guys, I wouldn't like the woman either. You know what I mean? Like, you can word it whichever way you want. I wouldn't like this woman. Like, she can screw off as far as I'm concerned. I told her that thinking about her, talking about her, or even seeing her still hurts too much. That's why I can't talk to her. Sarah insisted that this was exactly why they needed to have a conversation, but David refused and walked away. What a psycho woman. We need to talk. We need to have this conversation. No, you need to leave the dude alone and stop stalking him. Because here's the thing. This dude, right? Think about this. He moved to a different city. He's on a jog from, you know, wherever the hell. I don't know where this dude is. But he's having a jog, and this woman just so happens to be there. So what she did was she would have stalked his social media. She would have deliberately moved to his particular city, and then she would have known where he jogs, probably from some social media post that he did. And then she would have used that to track him down at a certain point. That she just stalked him, man. Like, plain and simple, she stalked him. This is like restraining order territory. A lot of these women need to have restraining orders put on them, to be honest. David's repeated refusals didn't deter Sarah. She attempted to contact him twice more, each time being turned away. Even mutual friends started to notice her persistence and began siding with David. Emily, the same friend who had helped uncover the truth, even made a cryptic post about stalkers online, one that many believed was directed at Sarah. Then things took a concerning turn. Sarah's efforts to reconnect became even more aggressive. Friends started suspecting that her decision to move to his city wasn't a coincidence. Of course it wasn't. Whether intentional or not, her proximity and repeated attempts to make contact were unsettling. Just as David thought that the situation might be dying down, he received a message from Sarah's mother. Unlike Sarah, her parents had always been kind and respectful to him, even during the breakups. You see, the fact that this is a plural, by the way, like, again, men just put up with way too much nonsense. Multiple breakups is just ridiculous. One breakup, it's over, man. It's absolutely over. I don't know why these dudes continue to have relationships with the same woman over and over again. It's never going to work. Absolutely never. When they asked for a call, he reluctantly agreed on the condition that they wouldn't try and persuade him to talk to Sarah. To his surprise, Sarah's parents were apologetic and deeply embarrassed by their daughter's behavior, as they should be. They had no idea what's been going on until recently. Her father admitted that the conversation they had with her was the kind you'd expect to have with a teenager, not a 29-year-old woman. So the father, that's funny. That's absolutely hilarious. Sarah promised her parents that she would stay away from David and seek therapy. For the first time, David felt a sense of closure. Yeah, see, buddy, I'd still be inclined to get that that restraining order in the end as well. So let's break this down. Woman decides to ask for a break from her man because she was sleeping with another dude and wanted to continue. Let's be real about it. The dude said, okay, let's have a permanent break. and he left the city, and then she begins stalking him, and also her relationship didn't work out with the man who she left him for anyway, who she decided to have the quote-unquote break for. Absolutely hilarious. Guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.